talk about improving language learning through reading. Fluency through reading. So, we are in front of my bookshelf here, and we're going to take a look at some of the different languages that I am reading and some of the different strategies that I am using for using reading to improve my language fluency. And let's find a good place to set you guys up here and pull out a few of these books, and I'm going to show you some of my strategies for reading fluency, and how I have used my reading fluency to also improve my speaking fluency, listening fluency, writing fluency, all of the fluencies, and some of the Spanish specifically books that I have read that have really helped me with this. So we're gonna look here, and we're gonna start with my very favorite book that I read in Spanish, the very first novel that I read in Spanish, and how this book took me a year, at least a little over a year, to read this book, and it is one of my greatest accomplishments in Spanish because it took me so long and I did it, and I really shouldn't have started here because this was way beyond my level, but I couldn't turn down a challenge, so I did it, and I'm going to show you how I did it, how I was able to understand this book and a very complex piece of literature, at least for my level at the time, and even now, I would struggle a little bit through something like this, but I developed a strategy that actually I teach now within the Linguist DOJO, and I'll share the strategy with you here as well. It is, a piece of that, but I'll share with you the basics of it here. And so what I did here and how this really helped me is I read each chapter, and I had a tutor who helped me as well. And so I read each chapter, and let me find one that has actually a lot of writing in it. And what I would do is I go through and look up all of the words that I didn't know, and I wrote them in here. I wrote notes on the side. It took me a long time because I was very detailed, and this is from a few years ago, so it's even yellowing. But yeah, you can see it was very extensive reading here, and that's how I was able to get through it and understand it. And then I also wrote about each of the chapters and then discussed those with my tutor when I met with her each week. And it really took my Spanish level to the next level because I was not only reading and learning vocabulary and practicing my ability to summarize and read and write by writing the summaries, and speaking. When I met with her, I was able to, I had to formulate my ideas then into speaking, even if it was just meeting to look at what I wrote and discuss that in Spanish, it still was using my spoken Spanish. So that was really an integrated approach to improving my Spanish based in reading. And yeah, it took a really long time to do that. So my strategy is this. I took each chapter, I read it all the way through one time, just read it without really thinking much, and then I read it a second time. In that second time, I looked up each of the vocabulary words in the section in the chapter that I know, so I'd go through and mark them, look them all up, write them all down, and then my third step was to read the chapter a third time, and this time for understanding. And then what I did for step 4, I suppose, after reading that third time, step 4 would have been to write the notes that I have in the side here. And if you can see, there's little notes and things all over here. And oh, over here on the inside. And sometimes those were in Spanish, sometimes they were in English. It didn't really matter too much as long as I was processing the information. And so I would do that, and then my fifth step was to use what I learned to apply what I learned in either writing or speaking. So writing a summary or speaking with my tutor, talking about what I read. And with that, I was able to understand pretty well, like, everything in here. And anything that I didn't, then I was able to talk to her about. And she was able to help me in that regard. And yeah, so that is my strategy here. Like I said, I have that within one of my lessons in the Linguist Dojo. And it's like, it's sort of an example of a strategy, because it's much more in-depth than that in the Linguist Dojo, even just that lesson. That's like a little piece in there. But yeah, that was really valuable for me, and then also was really nice because I was able to integrate all those other skills that speaking and listening and writing and with reading. So that really, really, really helped me. And now, so in my Spanish degree, for example, I have many different things that I've been reading. And a lot of these, like, at this point, I am using my Spanish to learn more than I am learning Spanish, although I am, of course, still learning. But what I'm doing is reading things, like taking classes like cultural history classes and like this. And all of this is in Spanish, of course, like it's all in Spanish. And this is somewhat simple to understand because it's written clearly, it's written in nonfiction. It's nonfiction, and then like this, like history, like Latin American history, and things like, you know, like this one. Okay, this one is short stories, so these are a bit more complex. This was for a literature class, and with these I did have to look up quite a bit, and I believe I wrote on some of these pages. I'm looking through here to see if there's any that I did actually write on, because I know there are somewhere. But, oh yeah, here's one. Okay, so this one's got some of my writing in here. And so I would go through and write on those and look up words. And really, I just modified that strategy that I had for that novel, because in a college course, there's not really so much time to be like doing what I did here, because this takes a lot of time, a lot of time. And so this was a bit faster this way, just to look up the words and to think about it and say like, okay, this is what's going on here. Sometimes, you know, I need things to underline and just like basic note-taking things, and that worked really well. So this, similar to reading novel, and this is a really good collection of short stories, by the way, with different Spanish short stories, because they also have some summaries, I believe. Yeah, they like introduce the author, and it really has everything all in one place where you can get all the information, and this is really nice. And then just different, you know, different books for history. So like this one, the culture and cine, and what's the English word again? The theater, no, cine, movies. The English, the culture and movies, and then going through there and just reading for information, which is pretty straightforward because it doesn't use the complex sentence structures that are used in a book, like something that Gabriel Garcia Marquez wrote. So that is really nice. And then, of course, also things like grammar, like took a grammar class as well, that's there. And what's this? This is Pueblos. This is another culture history. No, this is a mixture. So this must be one of my 300 level classes, and this is a mixture of like culture and grammar and vocabulary and all kinds of different things in here, more like textbook style really. And then from there we branch off to in-depth grammar and in-depth history and culture in like, you know, entire classes. And yeah, and then this one too. this is another great collection of stories, the cuentos for Spanish, and this one's really cool because it is a lot of stories. Like, these are just all stories here. It's called El Cuento Hispanoamericano, and this one, it's an anthology of stories, and this is really nice. Has really so many of the popular famous authors in Spanish in Latin America and Spain, like, they're all in here. And then just a couple others I want to share with you guys. So this one I haven't read yet, but I've read some of the stories in it, just not out of this book, but I found this book and I was like, yes! One of my all-time favorite authors in Spanish, Jorge Luis Borges, and this has some of his stories in it as well. And so this is another way I plan to practice my Spanish through reading, and once I can dedicate a bit of my own time, like my once I finish my degree basically, I can practice the way I want to a bit more, and when I have more like independent study time, here we go. And I thought I had another one, but we just might end it right here. No, we will not, because I see it. And this one, my two favorite Spanish authors, Jorge Luis Borges and Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, and this one is just cuentos, so much more easily digestible, just to be able to read some of his stories instead of an entire book. And that's my plan here moving forward, is to have this, and then I also just have like a collection of Spanish books here. I got a lot of books. I have a collection of Spanish books here that I have read. This was Mexican culture class. We read this one, La Distancia Entre Nosotros. I read that, and pretty easy to understand novel actually, so it doesn't require too high of a level Spanish, as long as you can read, not like reading either of those other two authors, Gabriel Garcia Marquez or Borges, not like them. It's very good, but not as complex, not as difficult to understand. This one as well, Cajas de Cartón, I've read this, and this is very small, easy to understand letters, basically. These I have not read or have not finished, or have not started, and these are books that I picked up that were on a master's degree list that I was looking for reading, so I was like, Spanish master's degree reading list, let me check that out and get some ideas. So this one has tres novelas. It has a few different ones, so I might pull that up once I can set these down because my hands are full. And this one, so this is El Hablador, Mario Vargas Llosa, and he is also a very well-known author. And of course, El Señor Presidente, Miguel Ángel Asturias. Okay, and these are again ones that I haven't read. This one I started, I didn't finish it, not because I didn't like it, but because it was very challenging and because I ran out of steam. So this one is La Cresta de León, and León, siento. And yes, so this one, Cristina Rivera Garza, and I think this lady actually, I think it's this one, I found out that she actually works at UC San Diego, so that's really cool. She's like a local author, I think that's her. And another collection of Borges, this is Ficciones, and I read one or two of those. And then we have this one, which is Pedro Páramo, Pedro Páramo, and this is Juan Rulfo, and have not read this. So, 3 novelas, and then we'll wrap it up. This is El Cuarto Mundo, Los Vigilantes, and Mano de Obra. Okay, so this is those 3. They're just all in one, so it's kind of nice. And that's it, guys. So that is how I have used reading to help me with my language learning, especially for Spanish. And with that, with this, we are out. And I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, guys.